Hi, I'm Candace, and this is Fitness and Harmony. So this is Pilates, return to life, downward dog days of summer. So let's start out with breathing. Inhale and exhale. All right, that first one didn't count. Let's try that again. Inhale, expand the ribs as wide as possible. Now, when you exhale, pull those ribs in. And what I want you to do is wring out every little droplet. Keep exhaling. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then when you need to, inhale again. Let's try that again. Here we go. Inhale, expand out. Until you can't inhale anymore. Then when you exhale, the purpose of these first few breaths is to remind you that you can squeeze the air out. Keep bringing out the lungs, keep bringing out the lungs until you're out of breath. And then when you're ready, inhale and exhale again. All right, you ready for this? Inhale, expand out. Exhale, squeeze and 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 squeeze. Do that again. Inhale, expand all the way out. Big, 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 big. Exhale, squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Begin squeezing the abs, uplifting the pelvic floor. Squeeze the ribs in tighter, tighter, tighter. And then just breathe normally. So we did about 3 good breaths there, and already your brain should be awake. So Joseph Pilates, Return to Life was the name of his book, by the way. He wrote back in 1930. Return to Life. He says we must uniformly develop the body. Let's just twist the arms forward and back. Twist the arms, the shoulder blades. We're going to do a couple of downward dogs, which is a little unique for Pilates, but because it's not one of the about 30 exercises Joseph Pilates came up with. Plus, there was a lot of equipment that he developed, designed. Do one arm forward, one arm back. Give yourself a little challenge here because it does require control. So in other words, what Joseph Pilates was really saying is that the body must respond to the will of the mind. And he says, don't let yourself off. That you should be determined to continue to work your body until it's under the complete control of the mind, and that everything in your body, not just the muscles, not just the voluntary muscles, every part of your body gets kind of wrung out, that it gets all of this energy. Spin both arms backwards and then pull the elbows into the elbows together behind and stretch out, pull in. Now begin to coordinate the breath. Inhale, stretch the arms out. Exhale, soak the belly in. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, squeeze. Pull the front to the back and the back in towards itself. So we start to contract all the muscles on the back. Exhale, keep pulling the nerves of the abdominals in. So we're talking this week about the bundles of the muscles and how they get detached from the nervous system. This is not something Joseph Pilates spoke about, but it is something that he was kind of intimating that in our modern world, back in the 1930s, in our modern world, we get out of our bodies. That's a good way of saying it. But we're required to do more and more and more. 3 more times. Squeeze, pull the belly in. But it is a natural thing. Leave the arms a little bit out. And let's circle the arms. So I'm going to leave my palms mostly up. So I'm going to say circle back. That's probably the natural thing for you to do. That our bodies get stiff and tight on their own. We don't really need to work out to get stiff and sore. Sometimes, as we're getting older, we think that it's because we're older that these things are happening. Well, it's just that we warm up faster when we're younger. Now go the other way. Start to move the shoulder blades around on the back as well. What we want to do in any practice is really move our bodies and our minds into freedom. Again, the words of Joseph Pilates, that fitness cannot be purchased. Oh, how we know that. And you can't just think about fitness. It doesn't work that way. 3 more times. We have to do the actual work again and again and again. Give the arms, the body a big hug. And then rock side to side. When I say rock, I mean bring the shoulder towards that same side hip. So practice now opening up the opposite side waist from the one that you're leaning into. Joseph Pilates believed 2 things were really the most important thing in our bodies that has to happen for any of this to matter. You have to breathe. That in our modern, again, he's used the words modern society, which sounds funny to us now. We're not breathing. We're indoors, we're in cities. We're not breathing. We're in crunched up positions all day. 3 more times. Keep practicing pulling the waist muscles in and then come back up. Let's bring the hands to the shoulders. In fact, I'm going to say, let's take the legs out in front. Hands to shoulders, legs out in front. You got it. Plug the hip bones into the floor. Inhale. Now, when you exhale and you twist your chest to one side, think about that wringing out the lungs. Inhale to center. Exhale. So you're like spiraling up from the bottom and twisting and crunching. Inhale, center. Exhale. You're wringing out was the term that Joseph Pilates would use. That in our modern society, we're not breathing. So really when he said return to life and contrology, what he meant was, let's get back to the basics where breathing and moving your body was the pathway to health. So modern pharmaceuticals, et cetera, not really what he was talking about. He's talking about breathe expansively, force the lungs to oxygenate the blood. So the other thing, I said there were 2 things. One was to breathe completely, and the other thing is to get the blood to circulate. If you think about all the things we've been doing in exercise ever since, you think about the modern aerobics movement came around in the 70s, it's about getting the blood from the heart and the lungs to the tissues and back. Because you remember, this was a thing that wasn't happening. I say, when was that happening? Always. 2 more times. Exhale. Remember, like you're wringing a sponge or a cloth each and every time. Work hard, work diligently. That was one of Joseph Pilates' words. And come back to center. Let's come down with the weights. So do roll down to the back. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, I'm on screen. I'm doing okay. These weights are not terribly heavy, so I predict you should be able to do this okay. 1 arm overhead, 1 by your side. Here we go. Exhale, switch the weights position. So take a big arching movement. Inhale. Exhale, switch position. Okay, now you know what the arms are doing. I want you to return to life. And by that, what I mean is return to exhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, sort of to rest and prepare. Exhale, 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 exhale. So the exhale not only contracts and reconnects your mind to the muscles around the ribs and the lungs and the diaphragm and the abdominals, but it also stabilizes all of the joints required for movement. In yoga, we talk about the inhale being the prep, and then the exhale being the movement. So don't worry, I'm going to say don't worry about the arms right now. Think about the lungs, the diaphragm, the abdominals, and of course the exhale, 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 and how that's making your waist muscles hug and support the long open pathway of the spine. 3 more times. If your arm doesn't go overhead, then please don't go too far with this. Maybe you're just going a little bit and doing almost like a bicep curl thing here. That's okay, as long as your abdominals are getting the intention. Exhale, 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 exhale. Let's take the arms up, straight up over the chest, palms facing in, and then widen the arms out in what we'll call a chest fly, and then back in. So in a moment, what I want to do is change the rhythm. There's obviously a rhythm to the breath, right? And there's a rhythm to our movement. And I'm going to use the words of Pilates and say, in our modern society, we've got out of hunting for our food, if you will, and having to do washing our clothes on a washboard. I don't know, sometimes it feels like it's just as hard. I shouldn't even say that, no fair. When you squeeze in, squeeze the abdominals down to the floor. When the arms go out, inhale. When the arms come in, squeeze and hollow out the core muscles. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Keep the shoulder blades plugged down and back. So when you're hugging this tray, you're exhaling, 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 exhaling. So there's kind of a pause when your arms go out, but I'm going to change that this time. Inhale out, but without touching the floor, pulse your arms out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. When you come back together, there's that exhale, 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 exhale. Inhale out, pulse 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 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 exhale. So it's in, pulse, 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 exhale. In, pulse, 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 exhale. I'm sorry I'm singing, but there's kind of something about singing and the long held notes of how you're connecting mind to muscle, and then how you're connecting that to the rhythm of the breath. So get that rhythm. And it really feels like your mind has these little hooks into your abs. And at some point during this movement, you have to pay attention to that. So again, back to the words of Joseph Pilates, the contrology puts us back into our bodies so that we gradually and progressively return our body to uniform development. That was another one of his phrases, uniform development. 2 more times. Even if you have to, kind of hold your breath. I don't mean stop it, but you might have to wait for the exhale. All right, let's put the weights down. Lift the hips up, come into bridge pose. I'm going a little bit quickly today. You can always press pause. Those of you who are in the live studio audience, I don't know what that means. So now that the hips are up, rock the pelvis back. So imagine that pelvic bowl rocking back, and then slowly, I'm going to use the term roll. This was Joseph Pilates' words. Roll the spine down one little chain link at a time. Once everything is down, lift it all up like a flat plank board, rock the pelvis back, and then roll. He always used the term roll down, because rolling, just sort of like that twisting. So everything lifts up at once, rock back, roll down. Those are certain terms or actions that he described that he used over and over and over. Lift up, rock back, roll. Roll without your leg bones splaying out. So get control of even the muscles that you don't think matter to what we're doing here. They do matter. Because what we're really doing is waking up the mind, just like that yawn wakes up the brain. You're gaining control of the gluteals here, the hamstrings, all of the leg muscles, but of course, the abdominals are controlling the articulation of the spine. He would call that precision and flow. So keep working on more and more and making sure that your frontal hip flexor muscles, those of you who are doing things like, oh, I don't know, running and riding bikes, those of you who are sitting in a desk chair, really stretch out those frontal hip flexors and use your abdominals to articulate the spine. Lift up and hold this time. Walk your feet together. Bring the arms to the floor, and then we'll march one knee in and down. Then the other knee and down, knee and down. Inhale, exhale. It may take you a little while to finish that exhale. Blow out through the mouth. Give yourself that reminder that this is full of energy. This is waking you up. You can rest later. Joseph Pilates would say that your practice should be full of zest and intention. You should really be determined to work diligently again and again and again. So kind of go at this with, like in yoga, we say like your hair is on fire. That's how we say it there, with tapas, with heat. 3, 2, and 1. Let's come down. Take the ball. If you have the ball, or if you have a block, put that between your knees. It's a little bit towards your thighs. If you don't have anything, that's okay too. Squeeze the ball, but lift the legs so the knees are stacked. Give that a squeeze and hold. Engage the abdominals. Inhale the legs down and away so that the toes come close to the floor. Squeeze the abdominals and exhale the knees towards the chest. Inhale down. Exhale, squeeze, pull in. All right, two things can be happening here. Your hips can be moving or not. So I want you to tune in. Tune in. That's an old phrase from like radio days, right? Tune in and you decide, do a couple with stable hips. And then you decide to figure out which one you like. Then do a couple with moving hips. It doesn't matter. As long as your brain, as long as your body is doing what your brain had intended it to do, that's life, right? You got it. You've got the secret to life. Again, Joseph Pilates said uniform development, and this cannot be purchased, right? Even if I keep barking at you to do many, many, many more reps, you have to be in it. You have to be tuned in, to use that nice phrase. 3 more times. Remember, sometimes you consciously let the pelvis move. I say let it, but you are moving it. And sometimes you're consciously holding it still. Let's take the ball out. Take one leg down, one leg up. Twist that leg open and then drop the leg down and out like at that, well, for me, it's 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever side you're on, and lift it back up. Point the toes and gain control of your toes. Your toes are, those are those things. They're doing what you're asking them to do. Now, I do ask that you hold your pelvis steady for this one. So maybe put your hands on those frontal hip bones to make sure that there's a stillness there. There's this nice flat abdominal space, but there's also a stillness there. Now, pulse down 3, 2, 3, lift up 1. Pulse, 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 lift up. Pulse, pulse, pulse. So this bouncing sort of pulsing thing, it really does tell your nerves what's going on here. It kind of wakes them up, and it works the muscles eccentrically. There is a good word for your word of the day calendar. Eccentrically. If you're rich, it's eccentric. You know, but none of us are rich enough, we all work for a living, to be eccentric. So we work the muscles eccentrically. That means as the muscle is lengthening, it's contracting and controlling. Mostly muscles only control when they're contracting, but they're doing it now while they're lengthening. So your muscles goes, what up? What are you doing? And it starts paying attention more. 3 more times. Abs, abs, abs. Of course, inner thigh. I don't have to tell you that part, though. Last one, last one. Just hug that knee to the chest and take 3 deep, expansive breaths. Let's go to the other leg. I hope that was 3. So one leg up, rotate from the hip bone, from the thigh bone, take the leg down and out at 5 or 7 o'clock, squeeze your abdominals, make sure it's stable, point the toes and lift the leg back up. So it might look, do a couple of what we'll call singles, just going down and up. It might look like your leg is just going down and up, but control your foot, control this whole length. Now we're going to start pulsing down 3. Are you ready for this? It's 1, 2, 3, squeeze and lift. 1, 2, 3, squeeze and lift. So consciously make that squeeze action. Squeeze and lift. And so what Joseph Pilates believed we were doing was we're filling all the tissues of the body with oxygen. And then we're squeezing it all out with a lot of vigor and zest. Those are his words, vigor and zest. It's almost like he used this term. It's like an internal body shower. We really do need to clean out. Again, he was big on the toxins of our day and how, like, I guess in cities and stuff, people are breathing in, you know, smog and stuff. And so we need to really refresh, replenish, and move all of those toxins out. Squeeze, 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 push. Engage the core and control the leg. 2 more times. 1, 2, 3. Last one. Hug that knee in. Hallelujah. You did really good. Hug both knees in. All right, let's try waking up these abs. Candace, they've been awake. We're going to do it's kind of a complex move, but you'll get it quickly because it's just really rolling over. That is, knees and hips roll towards the chest. Hips come up. Maybe you lift those hips up off the floor, or maybe today those hips stay on the floor. Either way, slowly unroll. Remember, that's the only word he really used was roll. And then when your feet come to the floor, stretch the arms overhead. After you take a breath and a yawn, then lift the head, the chest, the shoulders, roll the upper body up, curl and round the low back until you come all the way up, then stretch up. And again, it doesn't matter whether you came all the way up or not, whether it's the upper body or lower body. What matters is your intention and your execution. So once you come down, you can start peeling the knees in. If you want to, lift the hips up off the floor. See if you can. Remember, the goal is control. So above all, don't throw yourself around. Above all, move slowly and patiently, consistently and persistently. Move on each little articulate movement pattern until you gain control. I'm going to leave my arms down this time so that I can use my arms to lift my hips up and kind of overhead. Now, no matter how slow you're going, and I do say go slowly, you can see how this is called the roll up. And when the hips come up, that's called the roll over. You like that word roll? No matter how slowly you're doing roll ups and roll overs, not only are they hard, you say, I know that, Candace, but you can see how they're causing better blood circulation. So again, no matter how tired you are, maybe you're sitting there on your couch watching this, you can probably almost feel how hard this is, how much work, how much blood is circulating now around the viscera, you know, the gut. I'm going to give you another 30, 40 seconds. I'm being a fan this morning of the roll over. The roll up, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I think my head wants to stay down. So if you want to just do one of them and not do both of them, that's fine. Some of the Pilates exercises move quickly. I tend to not even do those. Three breaths. We're going to end in a seated position. So start moving towards a seated position. I know some of you were like, are already there, and you're just like, yeah, I'll wait for her. So here we are in a seated position. Let's just do that soft before we move on to other things. So feet a little bit wider than the mat. I'm going to turn a bit toward you. I have space here. Arms out. Inhale, exhale, turn, keep exhaling. Dive the chin to the chest, roll the shoulders onto the chest, hollow out the belly, and then stretch this arm like past the pinky toe. Inhale, come up. Turn, exhale, chin to chest, roll the shoulders, scoop the belly, roll forward, exhale, 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 inhale up. Turn, exhale. So diving and rolling. Again, this concept of rolling again and again and again in Pilates method or contrology. Progressively, I'm going to say work the spine so that all of the connecting pieces between the spine, they all get this refreshing flow of blood. So those parts in your spine that are really stuck, who knows why, hopefully they get into the act and they start moving and they get warmed up. So again, the goal here is to circulate blood. Squeeze the abdominals, exhale, 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 exhale. Don't inhale until you've exhaled. Make sure that every little droplet of air moves out of the lungs. So one more time. Exhale, 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 exhale. Then when you're done with what you're doing, come to hands and knees pose. Weight rolled away. Let's move from cat to cow. Cat, round the spine, push the tops of the feet to the floor. Cow, extend the spine, turn the toes under. Let's make a little flow. You'll be able to do this. It will be, when you're ready, cat to cow to downward dog. So plug the thumbs in, roll the head as the arm bones open, push the hips up and back. Look forward, come to a plank pose. So hinging, pulling the shoulders down the sides of the body, roll or drop all the way down, slowly control, lower the body to the floor, squeeze the legs together, lift the legs, lift the head, the chest, and the shoulders, and then come down. Push back through child's pose. We'll do this all again. Come up into cat, rounding the spine, pressing the tops of the feet to the floor. Extend the spine into cow, turn the toes under. Move into downward dog, lift off, press back, lose your mind, let your head drop. Then look forward and hinge forward into a plank pose, bracing and squeezing the abdominals. Slowly lower all the way down. When you get there, squeeze the legs and the heels together, lift the legs, push with your fingers, and lift the chest and the head forward, and then come down. Push back into child's pose. You may have gotten this already. Here we go. Cat pose. Cow pose. Downward dog pose. Plank pose, shoulders spin open, abdominals pull in, lower down to the floor. Squeeze the legs, the heels, lift the legs, push with your palms, extend the spine forward, lower down, push back to child's pose. Let's do this one more time. Cat pose, that's round. Push the tops of the feet down. Cow pose, extend. You're dragging your hands sort of back towards you. Downward dog pose. Straighten the spine, lose your mind. Look forward, hinge into plank pose. I think you've got it. Lower all the way down. Let's pause here. Just hold here. Turn the tops of the feet to the floor and kind of push them in. Walk your hands out a little bit wider than the mat and sort of chest high. Spin the elbows back, inhale. Now when you exhale, push the elbows down and back, kind of like you're doing that thing we did in the beginning where we're squeezing the elbows, but let the action be your chest rise up. And so you're really arching the spine. Inhale down. Now, when you exhale, you pull the elbows down and kind of pull down with your hands, and that shoots your chest forward and up. Inhale down. Exhale, push, lift up, press the chest forward. Inhale down. So you might be lifting your head quite a bit, but just make sure your head's not throwing its weight around like a bowling ball. Keep the legs kind of connected to each other and keep the legs pushing down into the floor. Maybe you're not coming all the way up. It's okay if your elbows don't straighten here. 3, shoulders down and wide. Don't wear your shoulders in your ears. 2, exhale completely. Remember to work diligently and persistently. And then 1. Move into child's pose, so press back. Just 3 breaths. So we have a little bit more, I'll call it active work to do. From here, let's come up onto the knees. So rise all the way up. I'm going to just say cross the arms and kind of across the chest. Take a second to rise up. So you're balancing on these knees. Your knees, of course, hip width apart. From here, if you can, extend a little bit back. So hips stay where they were. Chin stays down. Head's not part of this. Then from there, first squeeze. Then from there, from your knee, lean back. You'll know when to stop. Then tuck your chin down more, roll the shoulders, round the upper back, you know, that hunchback thing. Then scoop the belly and then come back up to straight. You got that? So first, a little bit of extension, hips forward, shoulders back, chin stays down. Then lean back. This is where you'll know when to stop. Then chin to chest, roll the shoulders, round the upper back like a hunchback, squeeze the lower belly, squeeze the middle belly, and come all the way up. So extend back, lean back, roll all the way back up. Extend a little back, lean back, roll all the way back up. Try a couple of these. Breathe in, breathe out. Keep gaining control of how the lower abdominals are supporting and uplifting. Let's call them the middle abdominals. Last one. And come back up. I'm going to say kick one leg. So I'll face you, so see what I mean. Kick one leg out, but it's in the same plane as your knee. It's not back there or forward. I'm going to say bring the arms up overhead. Take a second to grow taller. Left, right, left, right. Plant this foot into the floor. And then I'm going to say bring the palms together or hold on to your hands. And then lean away from the straight leg and hold. You guys are such good sports. You know, whatever she says, we're going to try it. We'll see how we do here. And then come back up. That almost gave me a cramp there. Give me a second. So lean away, hold. I'm going to try really pushing this other foot down so that doesn't happen this time, and come back up. Maybe inhale down, let's see. Exhale up. Scoop the abdominals in and up. This is not Pilates, by the way. I should tell you there was only around 30 exercises. This was not one of them, but he had plenty of mat exercises. He had plenty of other equipment exercises that would do things like this. So we're doing some of the other exercises. These are not mat Pilates, was my point. Now pulse down 3. So maybe sniff, 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 and then blow. Sniff, sniff, sniff. So that blowing, that exhale action, you should feel your abdominals go in and forcing air out of the lungs. So you become like a volcano of energy and heat. And we're dropping the brain, the mind, into the places that you're opening up from. You should be able to feel your lower oblique muscles squeezing you in and up 2 more times. Remember, this other foot is having a point or push down. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Squeeze and lift. And come up. Let's try the other side with a tensor fascia latte there. I really feel that. Leg out. Zip up. Grow tall. There we go. Over to the other side and just hold for a moment. Kind of get used to length here. And then come back up. Stretch up and over. So you're really trying to keep this side waist long too. So now do what I call singles. Over and back up. Practice diligently. So in other words, you can't check out. You can't, go off to a commercial break in the middle of a repetition. Keep your brain in this. Keep that exhale scooping the core muscles. Even if you're not doing the leaning business, reawakening thousands. Here's another Pilatesism. Reawaken thousands of dormant muscles. When I first read that years ago, I thought, that's just colorful language, dormant muscles. My muscles aren't dormant, they're right there. And then I found out when I learned more about physiology that nerves actually can kind of fall asleep and not be doing what they're supposed to be doing at all. I guess we should pulse down 3 by now. Here we go. Thanks for reminding me. 3, 2, 1, blow out. In. 2, 3, blow out. In, 2, 3, light that fire. So it might seem counterintuitive to you that we have to sort of agitate the mind body so that it can calm down, right? There's a parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous systems, fight or flight, and the rest. You need to have both of them. And a lot of times we have both of them active at the same time, and that's kind of confusing. So we're purposely agitating the breath and the body. And by now your mind's probably agitated too. 2 more times. Push this other leg down. I forgot to tell you that. Last one. Let's move into downward dog. So slowly move around. To downward dog. Lift up, press back. Now paddle or walk the dog. That's where you walk one leg, then the other, and let your hips sort of twist and turn. Three more breaths. Keep the arms spun open. Keep that flow of energy. Remember the blood circulation. Walk forward. I'm going to grab my weights because I don't want to make another trip down here. Bring them up to the knees and then roll all the way up. Let's take the legs out wide into a plie. So weights, no weights. Spin the leg bones open. Remember 5 o'clock. Is that right? 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock, whatever that is. Bring the weights together and sort of in front of the chest, and then just plie down and up. My foot's doing a little bit better, by the way, guys. I don't know, it's a miracle or something. I don't know. I can give you a couple of ideas what it might be. I'm doing a little bit better here. Squeeze the core, pull up strong through that pathway. Gradually and progressively. Acquire a natural rhythm. Joseph Pilates was big on rhythm. It didn't necessarily mean the rhythm of how we're moving and exercising. He was talking about the rhythm of the body. You know, how the lungs move and how the heart moves and how the digest, all that stuff. Well, all right, you're ready. Pulse down 3. It's down, 2, 3. Squeeze and pull up. Down, 2, 3. Squeeze and pull up. What are you squeezing? Everything. Everything squeezing into the midline and pulling up. Shoulders are still relaxed, even though we have these relatively light weights. Exhale when you're on your way up. It may, for me, I'm breathing kind of fast, so I'm having to kind of, okay, now I exhale. I have to like kind of get that rhythm going. 3 more like this. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Yes. Let's come down and hold, then shift to one side, then shift to the other. Shift, I'm going to take bigger feet here. I'm going to widen my stance, shift and shift. So here's a good example of control, right? I'm having control, even though my knee's shooting a little bit past my toe, a big no-no in personal training land. I'm controlling it, right? I already worked those inner thigh muscles. So I'm controlling this. Let's try these weights. When you lean towards that knee, take the arm and then row it. Lean toward that knee, take the arm to the knee and row it. So reach and row, reach and row. Okay, once you've got all that, and I see you do, you're amazing, my dance troupe. Go back to the abdominals, pulling up the center core. Remember it when we're doing plie? I said pull it all in. So you're moving the shoulders, the arms, right? That upper back, that trapezius, the inner and outer thigh. Not leaning over. If I'm giving you the impression, we're not doing this twist over, fall to the ground. That's a thing. It's just not a thing we're doing right now. 3, 2, and 1. Let's come up. I got one more for you. So feet closer together. Let's fly out and down. So we're just doing this arm, this deltoid fly. All right, work on squeezing the core more than you need to here, but also work on relaxing the shoulder neck muscles. Many times, one of the reasons I don't do a lot of these is a lot of us already have that trapezius sitting on the back of our head anyway. Pull that down and let it soften. Even though we're doing the fly, there's a slight bend in the elbow, and the arms don't really come up past the shoulders. Exhale, circulate, and then recirculate the blood. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's see if we can do this. I'm going to try rolling down. So I'm going to come to the back of my mat. Draw up tall through the back of the neck and the back of the head. Yes. Then chin to chest, roll the shoulders. We're going to roll all the way down, but that very slow, controlled roll again. Round the back. At some point, feel that stretch in your back. Boy, that feels good, doesn't it? Then rock the pelvis forward. I'm going to keep these weights in my hands. You do what you do and walk into a plank. So I'm going to walk my hands forward and out. I'm going to use these weights as little, I don't know, little things to hold on to, I guess. I think that product was called the perfect push-up. I think is what that was called. Let's try that. Try bending the elbows and pushing up. I don't know. Maybe it works with these weights. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe your knees feel happier on the floor. Maybe they don't. Maybe you don't want to go down and up as much. Maybe you do. Just give it a couple of opportunities to try. 3, 2, and 1. Make your way now all the way onto your back. Let's get rid of these weights. Return to life. This is the Joseph Pilates book, Return to Life. Not a lot in here. It's a really small book, but there's enough, isn't there? Slowly, with the arms outstretched, wave the knees side to side. Your choice. Feet can be up or on the floor. Just rock out that low back. All right, return your breath to what I'll call your natural organic breath. Nothing too much, nothing too little, just right. And then move all the way into our Shavasana. Bring the legs out. Let the legs roll. Just let them roll out. Tuck the shoulder blades under and let the arms roll out. Sink the chin down so the back of the neck is long. We've worked everything today. Take a nice, relaxing moment. And now as your body begins to soften, find a new dimension of resonance. That is that your mind body is healing to the tune, to the rhythm, to the flow of its natural state. Drop everything else out of your mind until it is just the body returning to health. Take a breath in, hold it, then let it go. Begin to roll onto your side. Take a breath in, And let it go. Open your eyes and now push all the way up. When you come up with a hint of a smile on your face, inhale and grow tall with the arms overhead. Exhale, lean to one side. Keep the arms close to the face, to the head. Inhale, come up. Keeping those arms close, lean up and over to the other side. Come back up. Inhale, stretch up. And exhale. You did it again.